absolutely great. Let me just, yeah, which is doing really great. We are currently rejecting from the value area high, which is pretty much expected. That was the reason I took the profit at 69K. You can go at my channel and you can see. So let's talk about, since we have established the arguments why I'm expecting a breakout of this value area. Let's talk about the um, where I'm expecting a rejection till and where we should bounce from. Okay, let's talk about that. It's my theory, of course. This is a pure theory of technicals. Not currently, we are making a prediction rather than making an action. What reaction basically is that when price started pumping, I longed because of the volume. That was the reaction. But now we are making theories where we could expect a bounce from, etc. So keep in mind, this is not like a, this is not exactly what is going to happen. But according to my experience and technicals, I do believe that this could happen. And yeah, so let's move on to it. Okay. Well, of course, we have this strong level. Let me just draw the Fibonacci as well, so I can give you why I do think this is a strong level. So first, of course, we have this strong POC level right here. This is also classified as a support, a small range Philip. Like you can see, this was a very small range. Let me just draw the boxes for you so it's easier for you to understand. This was a very small range before we did a breakout, and now we have done a breakout here. I'm expecting a retest of this and then go higher. And this aligns beautifully with our 0.382. Now, the important thing that you guys need to understand here, when the price is parabolic, it often does not give retrace into the discount. Like the textbook theory says that, let's say if price is pumping, then you should get a discount, then you should wait for the price to come into the discount and then buy. It is literally with every aspect of their life where we do a purchase, right? But when markets are parabolic, there is a huge chance that price just goes up and reverse from the 0.382, which is basically is this in this case, and then goes higher. So I'm expecting a similar case. And if we start to lose this POC and 0.382, then yeah, of course the argument that we are going higher pretty much becomes invalidates. And for me to look for lower makes sense then. Possibly then to look for longs around this area, most probably this discount area. If we start to lose the POC, this box I have marked, so I'm just gonna drop the screenshot in the chat so you guys have a, this can also be seen as a potential long area as well, because this is the area of do and die, because if we start to lose this area, then what we are going to basically witness is that we are going to retest the value area low. Just give me a second, I'm going to share you something really interesting. I talked about the same thing before and I'm going to mention it again, and trust me, if you do TA by yourself, this is something you want to see. Okay, give me a second. Let me just find it on my channel. That was it. Okay, so see this here. I talked about that price did a failed auction, came to the POC. And if you don't know what a POC is, it is basically where the most volume have been traded inside the range. So price started ranging into the POC, then we lost the POC, and see what it does. It did a bearish retest of the POC and then it retested the value area low. So let's say if we have done a failed auction and if we do not see a bounce from the POC, then chances of value area low getting retested or the other side of the area of the range getting not getting retested is actually very low, and we often gets retested. Now this is the same scenario here. We have done a failed auction, potential failed auction. If we do not see a bounce from the POC, then we are basically looking at value area low to sweep and then go higher. And yeah, this could also be a potentially good long because we have potential liquidity here. Or yeah, so we will look for confluences when the price action arrives there. But right now the most probable scenario I want and I think should happen is basically this, if my theory is right. Okay, hope this made sense. I tried to make it as simple as I could, but if you have any questions, let me know. This was a good short opportunity, and I'm pretty sure Wave caught it, but I was like I was pretty much, I didn't want to touch the Bitcoin. It was a good opportunity because we swept both of these low, not this low, but we swept this low. So swing failure pattern on a 4 hour time frame, swing failure pattern on a 4 hour time frame is actually pretty good. So we have done that. The candle is still need 46 minutes to close, so this swing failure pattern is pretty nasty. Plus we have longs trapped, almost $100 million of longs trapped at the highs. This basically means new almost $100 million of longs were opened around this price. So now even if you know the basics, if prices starts to go down, these longs will get liquidated. So of course they are squeezing those longs, so they start to get liquidated, and then they can continue the price higher. So, and that is also the reason why price never moves because if price comes down, they basically liquidate the longs that opened here, and then they basically go higher because they use this liquidity to send the price higher. So that is basically why market structure is really important. Okay. Sort of we are already seeing some sort of longs being liquidated, but not get that great amount. And you can see on the high, a lot of longs were liquidated. Let me just on the highs. Sorry, this platform actually bugs out whenever I open it on the stream. So do you see this high? When we swept the high, a lot of longs, sorry, the shorts were basically liquidated, which opened at the lows or which opened here, and it was around basically $29 million of shorts liquidated. Well, almost $70 million of shorts were liquidated throughout the exchanges. Basis premium, most of the buys today were coming from the Coinbase. You can see ETFs were basically buying in, and the funding rate is still positive, indicates that longs are still being open, which is not a good sign. But yeah, because we are at the highs, so we when we are rejecting from the highs, we want to see a cool down in the longs, and and we start to see shorts opening at the lows. Yeah, well, that's for another day. Right now, this is the thing I'm looking at: Bitcoin bounce from the POC or just go to our break even. And yeah, I would really love for this range to do a breakout because this is now getting too much. I think this is getting exhausted. Liquidity is being built up on two sides. So we need to do a breakout. It is a necessity. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. That's the Bitcoin market update. Failed auction at the value area high, bounce from the POC is needed. Otherwise, we are looking at lower areas, which is basically this. Also, one more thing I need to look at. I don't wanna bore you guys with bullshit. Just give me a second. I wanna look at this real quick. Yeah, this is what I don't like. You see, we did not sweep the POC on our naked point of control. I'm pretty sure we did not do that. Yeah, you can see we front ran the naked point of control, which is not good because we should had swept this. So I'm not a fan of this. Okay, we should had swept this, and that was the level I was talking about. That is our first resistance, and that is our second resistance, which is 73K. So both of these resistance are really important. So that is your first area where you should be expecting a rejection from, and your second area, which is the most important area. If I ever get 80K, I will look for shorts blindly. I mean, not really blindly, but I would be like going with the heavy size. That's what I mean. And I can talk about the 80K levels a lot, but I don't want to waste your time doing that. I have done it on my previous streams. If you want me to do it, I can. But yeah, let's hold it for right now. And that's your second area. 70K, 70 to 80K is your next short area. Um, yeah, hope that made sense. Let's talk about the another scenario of the Bitcoin. It is a bit of a macro analysis of the Bitcoin, but I think it is must I talk about this, and it is must that you should know about this as well, which is basically this PO3. So I'm just gonna remove everything from my chart right now, and I'm gonna talk about this. Okay, just give me a second. No, not good for longs or shorts. No sweep. Um, No, the thing is, I was expecting for the shorts, then the argument would have been better if we had swept the naked point of control. And it was a good profit taking area as well. But since we had front end and naked point of control, they basically acts like magnets. So it makes sense that price should go up to sweep those. That is basically uh, theory is with the naked point of control, that they basically act like magnets. So if the naked point of controls are above, this means price can go up to sweep them. And since we had front end that, this basically strengthens our argument that we can bounce from the POC. Where would you look to short next? Where would I look to short next? Yes, that is a good question, and I have talked about this question. I have done a very beautiful session on that. I just don't remember the date, where I explained why this 80K was a good short opportunity. Is a good short opportunity. Oh, sorry, my keyboard. So that is my first level, this 80K. If I ever execute, if the price ever comes to that, and if I execute, I will let you know. The second opportunity is basically 84K, 83K, where we have the CME, where the CME will, I guess, will completely get filled. That is the second. And the third where I'm looking at is basically this naked point of control. That is basically this weekly level is also a good short opportunity, but it is not as strong as this naked point of control, this CME, and this 80K. So of course price won't like go straight in the just go straight in the air, right? It can do something like this. So you basically will be looking to caught these shots. Do you understand? And of course, we will be catching the longs as well in the meantime. But of course, I need the price action to happen before I catch these longs. Hope that made sense and answers your question, man. Good question. But I have done a session on that. Pretty good session. I will highly advise that you should watch it. Yeah, what I was talking about. I want to talk about this Bitfinex chart. Yeah. Oh no, not this. I guess it was this. So that was first my potential idea of accumulation. Sorry guys for being clumsy. That was my first idea, that we are doing accumulation, and that was the manipulation to the lower side. And now we will do distribution. So I want to talk about two things, okay? And I need you to listen very carefully what I'm going to say, because I think I'm going to explain the reasoning why this was a invalid AMD, and I think this will really increase your how to play the PO3. If you analyze charts using the PO3, this would really help you. Basically, when we did a manipulation, we did not sweep anything. Repeat this. When we did a manipulation, we did not sweep anything. For a manipulation to be must, there should be a liquidity higher time frame that needs to be swept. Okay, I can repeat it again, but I'm gonna show it with the example. Okay, so that was your accumulation here. See pretty decent Christmas range. Also, there is a Christmas range, a long November range. That was your accumulation happening. And what happened is price came up, and did a sweep of a really strong high, sweep of these equal highs first of all. And the second thing is that we tapped this daily imbalance. So you did a manipulation into a liquidity. That is really important, your manipulation. And that is my own system. I don't know if anyone else uses like this, but I had a very high win rate using this. So this for a manipulation to be confirmed, there should be a liquidity sweep that need to be done. But now let's talk about this. Do you see any liquidity here? No. These are basically just these are just basically a support level. There is no liquidity in there. We did had a bounce, yes, but again, I won't like really classify this as a really strong accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Yes, you had a good distribution, sure, but nah, for me this was a higher time frame range. And if this was an actual accumulation, manipulation, distribution, then distribution to the 80K would had made sense at least. So where I went wrong. And manipulations are basically just like a really fast. They usually happens like this, and they don't. The price should not consolidate inside the manipulation too much, and it should not retest the manipulation, which we did, which invalidates the PO3 idea. So I hope that made sense. Now let's talk about the next PO3 idea which I'm looking at, and I think this makes the most sense to talk about. So that is our higher time frame range accumulation. I'm expecting this accumulation. Let's say if we get a breakout right now, which I had talked about, like bounce from the POC, and we get a breakout, then of course that PO3 is in the play. But let's assume that we do not get that breakout of the range which I just talked about explaining. So I'm expecting the price action to continue this entire quarter, to just accumulate in there. And on the second quarter, which will basically be, I don't remember, I'm very bad with the month. So on the second quarter, what I'm expecting is, and it is a really time based, you have to understand when I'm saying it is time based. And I could be wrong, but this is a quarterly theory. People who have studied, I'm not that great with the quarterly theory, but the philosophy remains the same. Okay, so the price consolidates in first quarter, and in the second quarter what happens is that price manipulates into these equal highs, into this daily imbalance. And there is also a golden pocket as well, I'm pretty sure. Let me just draw the Fibonacci. You can see we also have a golden pocket. So price manipulates till the golden pocket 705 level, and then we distributes lower to the 54K level, and that will essentially be our bottom. Yeah, that will essentially be our cycle bottom. Or if we lose the 54K, then we will straight head towards the 40k, where I would love to buy immense amount of spot. I would love 40k, but right now looking at the macro, 40k seems a bit unrealistic. I think the 54k, 50k, maybe 58k bottom makes the most sense. I think the 40k is a bit of too much. But let's see what happens. We are not here to like just make predictions and predictions. We are here to react on what happens on the price action. So if we get a manipulation to the above 80k, it does not matter whether it happens on second quarter or before the second quarter. The only reason I mentioned the second quarter, because there is a quarterly theory which indicates that let's say if in the first quarter price accumulates, on in the second quarter the price manipulates, and in the third quarter the price distributes. So, and that is something I have tweaked as by myself as well. So something that is possibility. But let's say even if we get manipulation to the above side even before the second quarter, I would be happy to take a shot. But yeah, that is something I am very much expecting, and you can already see the confluences. Why this level specifically is the really most important level is because you have these equal highs, daily FVG, daily imbalance, whatever you guys want to call daily imbalance. If I create the, you can see we have a zero single print as well basically. Let me just, yeah, let me just make it more clear so I can show you the single print. Yeah, this is basically, you have these single prints here as well. So, and single prints are very important, okay? Do not fade the single print. So you have the single print, you have the imbalance, you have the golden pocket, and you have the equal highs, and also you have the accumulation manipulation theory suggesting that we should lower. So this is a great argument, and I'm gonna say this: I called the top of the 90k, 98k using the same strategy, and I'm pretty sure that I will be right this time as well. I could be wrong. I'm a human being, but I have a really strong confidence in this theory, and let's see what happens. But you can watch my streams. I have talked about the 98k level like millions of times, and I said I talked about the PU3, I talked about why this is a strong level, and you can see where we talked out. So yeah, I don't think so this is something I'm gonna fade. This is my level, and I'm not gonna fade it. If I get opportunity, I will basically look to short. Hope that made sense. Yeah, that is it for the Bitcoin, guys. If you have anything else from, do you guys want me to talk about, I would be happy to do so. It can be, I don't want to talk about Ethereum and Solana. They are pretty much similar as Bitcoin and coin price section. If you have something interesting for me to talk about, let me know. Some altcoin. Um, Tel Aviv stock market is 10x in 3 years. Yeah, but, well, I don't want to get political, but the war on the Iran was pretty unnecessary, and I think it was a deviation, deception, or I don't know what is the word for it. But they don't want people to focus on the Epstein file, and it is, the thing is that people are just not realizing how deep the matter is with the Epstein file, which is actually really wrong. So that is basically reason that they called the war on the Iran. It was not a necessary war. I don't think so. And the reasons when they launched the war, the Trump basically mentioned the reasons why they launched the war, and basically their own senators and their Pentagon is like contradicting the Trump administration, and they're saying that was never a reason, blah blah blah. So there is a lot of contradiction happening. From what I have understood, that Pentagon was not really, they didn't really wanted to do this war. If you like study this whole geopolitical matter from the vast perspective, and it was the Trump administration which wanted to do it. And now why Trump wanted to launch the war Iran so eagerly, I think you are smart enough to answer it by yourself. So yeah, hope that made sense. Let's look at the gold. This is something I really want to look at. Okay, we also had a gap, right? We did not had a gap on the Oanda, but we had a gap on. Pretty sure we had a gap somewhere. Oh my god. .com, I believe. Yeah, I don't know what happened. There was a gap which where we opened a gap in the CM. Nope. The good thing is that we have filled the entire imbalance, which is good. This was a good long opportunity. I can even show you my WhatsApp messages. I was talking to my friend and said, once we get the gap filled, this is your opportunity to look for longs. Yeah, you can see the bounce. I was actually in a short as well. It was a scalp. I don't know if that worked out. Yeah, you can see beautifully worked out. I can talk about this. It was a really beautiful. This was really this was something. It was a entry model of my own which I developed. It is basically once you have structure break, you do something like this. That is basically the signs of exhaustion, and you can see we did something similar here as well. You had a 5 minute structure shift. The price rejected first from the imbalance, then it rejected again, and you can see beautiful 1 minute, beautiful setup on a 1 minute, which basically ended up as a 3 hour. Good stuff. The bias was short, so we wanted to do the we wanted to do the shorting as well. So let's just talk about the 4 hour. Okay. um, so this was the gap you had on the gold, which was obvious that we needed to swap this. We swept it. Not just swept it, we also filled the 4 hour imbalance as well. You can see, honestly, bro, if you ask me, this was a pretty good long opportunity. I don't know if you caught it, but yeah. And this is also classified as an imbalance, as inverse imbalance as well. Lovely. This was a beautiful long opportunity. Um, to the tick, we flipped it, and now we are going higher. I think something like this on the gold could work on a 5 minute. Okay, yeah, potentially come to like sweep these lows. But yeah, I would happy to target this naked point of control. We lose this level, then this is basically where you are looking to long it again. Let me just draw this. If we lose this, then this is basically your next area where you wanna look for longs on the gold. Let me just drop the chart. Quick capital come. Yeah, it was a Honda where we had a gap filled. I don't really trade then gold and etc that much, but it have been really interesting lately. So I have been looking at it. We did not sweep the high as well, so I still think that we can go much higher. Eventually, this is destined for the all-time high. Anybody saying that, anyone who was calling for the top on the gold when it was at the lows, you just don't be an investor, man. The gold, well, you have to understand, usually the gold pumps after, yeah, let me just look at the astro pm, just give me a second. Usually the gold pumps after a significant event had happened, and people are using the gold as a hedge. Right now nothing's major have happened yet, the gold is pumping. What does that tell you? That it is not good. But yeah, okay, let's talk about the astro. Oh, that looks bad. This is a range. As I have talked about the Astra again and again. If you are a degen, trade this range, but I'm not a degen. I cannot possibly trade this range, honestly, man. Well, I can, but I don't want to do that because why? At this point, I should just better trade the Bitcoin range. So if I were to give you the context on the Aster, um, this was your range. The price went below the range, did a retest, and then went lower. Now the price have reclaimed the range again. If you potentially get a retest of this range, then maybe you can look for higher. Let me just look at where you can look for it. Maybe let me just look at the naked point of control. Where do we have the naked point of controls? Yeah, you have him here. Yeah, this is actually good because the naked point of control you have is actually either really low or actually aligns with your range. This is something you want to see. You can already see how the confluence is aligned. As I say, the every strategy works. You just need to be generally smart to utilize them. You play this a long entry, and this is something what I would like to play on the Aster towards the anchored VWAP we have here. And if this doesn't work out, this is where I'm looking at Aster next. Mm, be like this, okay? Point 62 aligns beautifully with the naked point of control. I cannot possibly fade that. Let me just see if we have a 2 hour PD array around this level. We'll have this order block. So we have something on the 4 hour. Not really, not really. Do we have an imbalance? Inverse that needs to be swept. You have to have this inverse. How did I not see that? So you have this 4 hour inverse, which you can as a PD array, and you also have these lows, resting liquidity. So let's say you're something like this. You can have a hard stop loss there as well, because we can potentially wake out. But yeah, this also looks good to me. A bit wider a stop loss on this because of the inverse we have. You can even make an entry lower if you want, but I would say stick to the naked point of control. Yeah, lovely stuff. You also have this channel as well. If this channel aligns, well, it doesn't really align, but it gives you the structural structure of a coin, which looks bad right now. Hmm. So let's just stick to that. I think this is good stuff. Of course, do not place the limits. Try to trade the reaction if there is. Hope that made sense, guys. Mm, hope that made sense, guys. Let me know if you guys have any other chart request or what exactly you want to do on the Aster. Maybe I can look at from my perspective. Otherwise, this looks good. We had a beautiful stream. I hope you guys learned something. I tried to be as simple as I can with my explanations. If you still have any questions about my strategy, how I approach the market, do let me know. I would be happy to answer the questions, or just tag me in the general chat. Always there for you to answer the questions, guys. Looking to do the streams 3x a day, sorry, the 3x a week. Let me know if you would be interested in that. Yep, I just want to provide as much value as I can, so you guys can learn with me, from me, and you guys can earn, so we guys can earn money together. So yeah, just wait couple of minutes if you guys have any other chart requests. Otherwise, we are good to end this. I guess that is it for today, guys. Thank you for joining in. Hope you guys have a great week. We have a next stream pending on a Thursday. We do a stream every Monday and the Thursday. If you like my streams, enable my alerts from the notifications and click on the interest button, so you guys can get the notification every time I do a market update. Thank you, guys. See you on the next stream. Cheers. Bye.